More than 68% of single mothers voted for the Democratic Party. More than 52% of married women voted for the Republican Party. I want to know something, and this is a serious question. Why is that? Oh, I know why. Because the Democratic Party allows you to make decisions based around.
I'm sorry. Right off the bat, this dude always like misquotes stats. He always gives like stats with no context. The majority of married people in this country are white people. The majority of married people are white people. There you go. The majority of married people are white people. And the majority, the largest demographic per capita, I should say, of people who have babies out of quote unquote wedlock are black people. And we know that overwhelmingly black people voted for Kamala Harris, man or woman. So yeah, that like ignoring that in this is crazy to me. Of course, that plays a huge role in those numbers. It's like the point that he's trying to make is not, it's not a valid one. Just off the rip, I'm saying, like, without any nuance, he's just like, well, a bunch of married people voted, a bunch of single then voted. It must be because, and it's like, that's not it. But let's keep going.
Something, and this is a serious question.
The reason why it wouldn't be that's because of this little thing that we like to call intersectionality, right? And we know that the vast majority of white women who voted in the interest of being white and not being a woman. So the vast majority of women that voted for Trump voted on the basis of, let me protect whiteness, not let me protect womanhood. I don't care about women. I care more about my race right now, because that's the thing that will hurt me the most in this particular case. Like, if I go against my race, I'll feel the wrath of that quicker than I would if I go against my gender, right? Or yeah, if I go against the other gender, not against my gender, but if I go against my gender, go against the other gender, which would be men in this case.
Why is that? Oh, I know why. Because the Democratic Party allows you to make decisions based around just your body, your choice, your freedom. And the Democratic Party is not the party of self-accountability. The reason people have a problem with
how isn't the Democratic Party? I mean, neither party is the party of quote unquote self-accountability, but the Republicans definitely aren't the party of accountability. Like, what? Once again, these dudes, when they talk about accountability, they're not talking about accountability. They're talking about punishment. He's not saying that women don't take accountability. He's saying women aren't punished enough for being single mothers.
The Republican platform of not having access to abortion, just be willy-nilly and just out there, is simply because of the fact that it's not pro the nuclear family, it's not pro marriage, it's not pro a strong family communal unit. It's not.
You're mixing up communal with you just said communal and the nuclear family, which are juxtaposed to one another. So you don't know what you're talking about. You should stop talking about this. The nuclear family isn't even a real thing. I mean, it existed for a very small blip in time in America, but the nuclear family isn't a real thing. Like, it's not even feasible for the vast majority of people, even if you wanted it. But it's also just not the best way to raise a child or to raise children. It's not. It isolates families. It doesn't do the communal connection that people need to actually be at their best.
Not. The Democratic Party is not pro that. What it is pro is individual freedom of choice.
And that's why I voted for Kamala Harris. You think that's supposed to make me not like the Democrats? Let me hear that again.
The Democratic Party is not pro that. What it is pro is individual freedom of choice.
Yeah, that's what I like. I like everybody being able to make their own choices.
And again, once again, I'm sorry, but outside of exceptions, there's no need to have abortion clinics all over the place, but in particular in the black communities.
Black women need to get abortions like every other group of women. And I don't know the numbers on this. I would love to see are these clinics in Black neighborhoods more than they're in any other neighborhood. I don't know. I know in my city, Planned Parenthood is in predominantly white neighborhood, and the times that I've seen a Planned Parenthood, it wasn't in the hood. It wasn't in like Black neighborhoods.
Per capita, Black women use abortion at vastly higher rates than women, Hispanic women, or Asian women.
Because all of those groups of women are more likely to be married to a man. Black women are less likely to be married to a man, the man of the father of their child. So why would she want to have a child when she knows that the man isn't going to show up for her and show up for the kid? And then she's already living in probably close to or living in poverty. So there you go. Makes for a perfect storm of, you know what I'm saying? Like deletus fetus situation.
Period. This is what the data shows. The Democratic Party wants you to do what you want, but you don't have to have a strong Black family unit because why? It's not necessary. It is so interesting to me. Once again, 52% of married women lean and vote Republican and have done so consistently. Over 68% of single women and women with children, but that includes single women with children, voted for the Democratic Party. One party is very pro the nuclear family. One party is very pro marriage, very pro traditionalism. The other one is this post.
They're not one party. The thing why I hate listening to Republicans and right wingers talk about being pro family, they never actually talk about policies that have a family. By the way, this gentleman doesn't have a family. He doesn't have a wife, right? He impregnated a woman, and he is I can't call him a single father, but you know, he has a child outside of wedlock, right? But as a married man with a family, right? There is no Republican policy that is going to help my family right now. Currently, Donald Trump's on the campaign trail, Donald Trump said he was going to get rid of the Department of Education. I have a son that is on the spectrum, high on the spectrum, right? Or low, whatever you want to say. He needs a lot of services. So how is that going to help my family? Donald Trump took away removed a lot of the credit that we got for children, the child tax credit. He took that away. How is that going to help me and my family? Donald Trump isn't talking about getting health insurance to everybody in this country. That would help families to be strong. Donald Trump's not, and the Republicans aren't the party of $30 an hour minimum wage, or even $15 minimum wage, which not nearly enough. But right, Donald Trump isn't trying to do anything, and the Republicans aren't trying to do anything that would actually help families. And what I want you to do, sir, is to name the policy that the Republicans support or push or have implemented that directly impacts families. Name one of them. Name one of them, because I'm not a Democrat, and I'm just not a Democrat. I'm not a Democrat apologist either by any stretch of the imagination. But comparatively, the things that Kamala Harris was talking about doing would benefit my family far more than the concepts of a plan, of an idea that Donald Trump was fucking milling around about. Like, so I mean, it's a no-brainer. It's not even close. Her tax plan was going to help me. Her not getting rid of the Department of Education was going to help me. Her fighting to get student loan debt forgiven was going to help us. Like, I could just keep going down the line. Helping first-time home buyers directly would help me. Where's Donald Trump's plan to help first-time home buyers? The Democrats are the only party even talking about putting a cap or trying to implement some regulations into stopping large corporations from buying private homes of single family homes. They're the only ones talking about it. Where are the Republicans talking about it? Name it. Name the politician. Name the policy. So nothing he's saying is true. The Democrats are far better for families than Republicans are. You can't name the policy. He's just rambling off random stats and making these fucking cockamamie connections.
It's very pro this postmodern idea of society. It puts men and women as much as it can on the same level, but I'm sorry, men and women are not and have never been equal. There are things men can do, women can't. There are things women can do that men cannot.
That's not equal. That's equality, by the way. It would be a form of equality, but it's not about being equal. It's about being equitable.
My question to everybody that watches this is this: why have we not called this out? Why have we not called this out? How does being single for the majority of your lifespan, but having fractured homes, help our community en masse? It doesn't. The strongest that the black community has ever been is when our nuclear families were the strongest. Prior to 1968, we were married at a rate of 86%.
And black people were struggling, and black women were suffering, and black children were suffering. Once again, just rambling off stats. You don't know what was going on back then. You mean to tell me black people were better off doing Reconstruction than they are now? Fuck out of here. Fuck out of here. Fuck out of here. Please stop.
86.3%. The black economy was also at its strongest. Black church attendance was also at its highest. So there are a lot of things that correlate, that demonstrate that when you make God.
And black women were abused at the highest rates that we've seen in this country post-slavery. So children abused at rates we hadn't seen in this country post-slavery. So how do you gauge how good a community is? How do you gauge it? How much money they're making? I don't. That's not how I gauge it.
And religion, the center of things, which is exactly what the case was in the black community in the 60s. We perform better economically when men are in the household. But in this postmodern view of the world where, we don't have to have that. We can have
we perform better economically, but we perform worse socially because the women and the children are so abused and so neglected.
Fractured homes in mass and everything is going to be hunky-dory. No, it doesn't really work that way. It doesn't work that way. One of these political parties is pro-accountability, pro-nuclear family, pro-marriage, pro-a strong unit. One of them is do as thou wilt. And how does that work for us?
It's working better. Black women are educated and they leaving weird dudes like you alone. So there you go. But I'm going to show you why. We're going to get into the why. Remember what he said earlier? He's like, oh, I wonder, like, why are the Republican women voting for the Republicans, right?
Something. And this is a serious question. Why is that? Oh, I know why. Because the Democratic Party, more than 68% of single mothers voted for the Democratic Party. More than 52% of married women voted for the Republican Party. I'm
going to tell you why. That's not the only. One of the reasons is race, right? We know that. But this was also a reason why a lot of women, Republicans, a lot of Republican women vote Republican.
Your turn, honey.
In the one place in America where women still have a right to choose. You can vote any way you want. And no one will ever know.
Did you make the right choice?
Sure did, honey.
Remember, what happens in the booth stays in the booth. Vote Harris Walz.
That was sad, by the way, that in 2024, they had to make a commercial to tell women, Republican women specifically, it's okay to vote how you want to vote. You think liberal husbands are fucking watching who their wives are voting for and like, you better vote the way that I vote? Like, no. A lot of Republican husbands fill their wives' absentee ballots out for them. That's a known thing too. So yeah, she can go in the booth and vote against, you know what I'm saying? She could, but a lot of times they don't. They be afraid. What if they get caught? So yeah, nah, bro. Nah. This has a lot to do with it. The pressure
No.
from the people in their community, the pressure from the men in their homes, because a lot of right-wing men are extremely abusive and controlling. That's a known thing about conservatism. That's why it's funny when a black man is talking about we need to go back to fucking 1898 or even 1960. I don't give a fuck. Going back is not an option for black people. Moving forward is the only option. Any black man that's telling other black people that we need to go back is an enemy of the state. Period, point blank.